I want you to imagine something for a second. Think about just your average daily routine.
Okay.
So you wake up, maybe you have a little morning breath. You shuffle into the kitchen.
Right, the usual.
Yeah, and you drop a spoon, you sigh really heavily because you realize you're out of coffee. And maybe you have this like tense, awkward 5-minute debate with your partner or your roommate about whose turn it is to take out the recycling.
Oh, I know that debate very well.
Right. Now, I want you to imagine that every single second of that mundane, unfiltered human existence is being broadcast live.
Oh, wow. That sounds exhausting.
It does. And not just to your friends, but to thousands of anonymous strangers who basically hold the power to instantly judge your appearance, critique your tone of voice, and just mock your life choices in real time.
It sounds like a modern adaptation of the Panopticon, honestly, like where you behave differently simply because you know you're always being watched. Except in this version, the invisible guards are also paying you pennies to dance for them.
Exactly. Welcome to the reality of the modern content house. And that is the exact ecosystem we are doing a deep dive into today.
It's such a fascinating and frankly kind of terrifying topic.
It really is. And we have incredible source material for this. We are looking at a masterclass of a breakdown provided by a YouTube show called Couch Commentary with Twana Yvette.
She's so thorough.
Beyond thorough. I mean, Twana has compiled this meticulously detailed set of notes analyzing a very specific 24/7 IRL, meaning in real life streaming setup on the platform Kick.
Right, the Messy Mage house.
Yes, the Messy Mage content house. We're looking at this deeply claustrophobic dynamic. It's basically two women, one man living under one roof with this invisible, omnipresent audience pulling the strings.
And Twana's commentary is invaluable here because she refuses to just look at the surface level chaos. I mean, the internet is full of people doing wild things for views.
Oh, yeah, every day.
But Twana digs into the foundational mechanics. She looks at the underlying humanity, the financial desperation, and the surreal psychological compromises required to survive in a house where the cameras literally never stop rolling.
Never. There is no off switch. And our mission today for this deep dive is to unpack all of that. We are going to explore the bizarre, gamified economics of these live streaming platforms.
The money side is wild.
It's unbelievable. We're also going to look at the severe psychological toll of that 24/7 exposure. And we are going to dissect the deeply complex character dynamics of the people who actually volunteer for this.
Because you have to wonder, who signs up for this?
Exactly. By the end of this deep dive, you, listening right now, are going to understand how the digital creator economy actually functions, because it is a system that works brilliantly for the absolute top 1%, and it presents a really harsh, uncompromising reality for everyone else trying to climb the ladder.
Yeah, the gap between the illusion of the creator lifestyle, uh, the luxury cars, the endless parties, and the day-to-day grind of a 24/7 stream is just massive.
Huge.
And to really grasp the gravity of this specific house, we have to start by looking at the architect, the person who built the stage.
Right. Before we meet the cast living in this fishbowl, we have to meet the ringmaster of this digital circus. His name is Samaj Coleman, but the internet knows him as Messy Maj.
Or sometimes White Boy.
Yeah, Boy Maj. So let's lay out the foundation of who Maj is, because he's young. He is 22 years old.
Which is crazy to think about, given what he's managing.
It's wild. He has about 91,000 followers on Kick. He originally built his audience on an app called Bigo Live, but he has successfully cross-pollinated his brand to Kick, YouTube, TikTok. I mean, he's basically everywhere.
He really is the central gravitational pull of this entire operation.
Yeah.
Without him, the house just doesn't exist.
No, it completely falls apart. His brand is built around the Messy Mage show, which is his flagship production. He does comedy, lip syncs, skits, hand dances, and he has achieved actual verifiable celebrity status within the specific subculture of live streaming.
Which, platform celebrity is a really unique phenomenon. It isn't Hollywood fame.
No, not at all.
It comes with a terrifying level of intense loyalty from fans, but also equally intense scrutiny. because the barrier between the creator and the fan is completely dissolved.
And Mage really leans into that dissolved barrier. So he just wrapped up season 2 of The Messy Mage Show, which basically functions like a live stream, completely uncensored Big Brother.
Right.
And to pull this off, he literally opened up his own personal home. He brought in 2 older women, 21, and Mara, who we will definitely spend a lot of time on shortly. And he even flew in a cameraman all the way from the Netherlands to film the entire thing.
Just the power dynamic established by that setup is inherently destabilizing.
Oh, completely.
You have a 22-year-old young man who is simultaneously acting as the landlord, the executive producer, the director, and the star of the show.
The analogy I keep coming back to when I was reading the sources is that Maj is essentially a Gen Z version of Andy Cohen.
Oh, that's a great comparison.
Right, because Andy Cohen manages all the Real Housewives. He navigates these intense, volatile, highly dramatic personalities, throws them into high-stress environments, and just watches the sparks fly for our entertainment.
Exactly.
And Maj is doing the exact same thing, but he's doing it at 22. He's managing a 31-year-old and a 38-year-old. I just keep wondering, how does someone barely out of college possess the psychological leverage to manage that kind of 24/7 environment?
It's a lot of pressure for a 22-year-old.
Like, is Maj acting out of pure altruism by opening his home to give these women a platform, or is he simply farming their daily lives for content?
Well, the Andy Cohen comparison is brilliant, but there is one massive difference here. When Andy Cohen finishes a tense reunion special with the Housewives, he gets to go home to a quiet, private penthouse in Manhattan.
Oh, true. Very true.
Mage sleeps in the studio. He is living in the tension. And Tawana's assessment of Mage actually wrestles with that exact question of altruism versus exploitation.
What does she conclude?
She notes that Mage is highly intelligent. He's a gifted public speaker who deeply understands the algorithmic mechanics of social media. And crucially, Tawana believes he truly has a heart for people.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have to open his personal sanctuary to these women. He chose to.
But there's a catch to that generosity, right?
Oh, very firm one.
Yeah.
Tawana points out that Mage operates with a strict, unyielding boundary. He wants to help people elevate their platforms, but he gets intensely aggravated if the people he is helping refuse to help themselves.
Interesting. So he expects them to put in the work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He expects a tangible return on his investment, not necessarily in cash, but in effort. If he provides the stage, you must perform.
Which creates a fascinating, almost inverted social hierarchy in that house. You have a 22-year-old acting as the patriarch and the primary employer for women who are a decade or more older than him.
It's definitely an unusual dynamic.
Because he holds the keys to the kingdom, you know? The platform access, the established audience, the literal roof over their heads. So his word essentially dictates reality in that house.
He dictates the reality and he dictates the absurdity.
Yes. Oh my gosh, we have to talk about the absurdity because the actual content they're producing in this house is surreal. It's like a fever dream.
Gross out challenging.
Yeah. I mean, imagine you were this Dutch cameraman whose name is apparently unpronounceable, according to Tawana's notes, by the way, and you fly to the United States. And your entire experience of American culture is being filtered strictly through the lens of absurd internet challenges in Mage's living room.
It is a profound distortion of reality. The cameraman is functioning as an active participant in a psychological experiment that's just masquerading as entertainment.
It's hilarious and honestly a little terrifying. Like, the cameraman is sent to the local store to buy props for this stream. And what is he buying? He's buying real dead maggots.
Dead maggots. I mean, who even sells those?
Right. He's buying spoiled cream. He is mixing up these vile mustard concoctions for blindfolded taste test challenges where the cast has to guess what horrible thing they're eating.
It's so gross.
And they do these, those what's in this box challenges where they reach their hands into a dark box to feel things.
Oh, yeah, like a dead rat prop.
Yes. There's a specific anecdote in Tawana's notes where Maj puts on gloves and literally chases the women around the house with this dead rat prop, and everyone is just screaming and dying laughing.
And you think about it, what would be a bizarre, perhaps even traumatizing prank in a normal household is, within the walls of a content house, just another Tuesday.
It really is. It's just part of the job.
It is inventory.
Yeah.
It is product. The maggots, the spoiled cream, the screaming that is the raw material they are mining to keep the invisible audience engaged.
And the cameraman is just right there, capturing it all, having fun with the cast, completely normalized to the madness.
It's the literal monetization of shenanigans.
That's a great way to phrase it. But, as entertaining as Mage might be as the director of the circus, a reality show cannot survive on the director alone.
No, it needs characters.
It needs star veterans. It needs people who know how to play the game and hold the audience's attention when the dead rat prop gets put away. And that leads us to the house's most seasoned and arguably most complex broadcaster.
Yeah, to truly understand this ecosystem, we have to examine the people who have survived its scrutiny the longest.
So let's introduce 21. According to the source material, 21 is a 31 or 32-year-old broadcaster who is absolutely not new to this world.
Not at all.
She has been broadcasting on Bigo Live and other apps for nearly a decade. And in internet time, a decade is basically a century.
It's an eternity. Most people burn out in a year.
Right. And she has built an empire on what Twana affectionately calls shenanigans.
Her ability to command attention is legendary on the platform.
Oh, she knows what she's doing. She is famous for, get this, hooking a hoverboard up to a literal shopping cart and just driving it around town while live streaming to thousands of people.
I mean, the visual alone is incredible.
It's brilliant. And she treats her bathroom like Madison Square Garden, giving full-blown, passionate concerts. She is a veteran of audience retention. But there's a massive, glaring contradiction in the life she presents to her audience, and I find it completely fascinating.
You're talking about the tension between her stated desires and her projected persona.
Exactly. Because according to Twana's notes, 21 recently went on her stream and delivered this very clear manifesto. She basically said, I don't want to be responsible, I don't want to get a job, I just want to be a party girl, smoke my weed, grow my drink, make my content, and be carefree.
Which, on the surface, is a perfectly viable internet brand.
Yeah.
Carefree party girl.
Sure, it sells. But she has also stated, quite emotionally in the past, that she wants her kids back and she wants to buy a house. So I look at those two statements and I just wonder, how is an audience supposed to reconcile those two completely different human beings? The irresponsible, weed-smoking party girl versus the aspiring homeowner and devoted mother.
Honestly, the audience's inability to reconcile those two personas is the exact engine that fuels her engagement.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Right. People tune in because human contradiction is inherently compelling. They're trying to solve the puzzle of who 21 actually is when the camera's off.
They want to know the real her.
Exactly.
Oh.
But Twana's commentary provides some vital, deeply nuanced context regarding 21's situation, particularly regarding her motherhood, which the internet notoriously loves to weaponize.
Oh, the internet is incredibly unforgiving toward mothers. It's awful. If a mother is seen having fun, she is deemed neglectful. If she is struggling, she is deemed unfit.
It is a lose-lose scenario for women in the public eye, every single time.
It really is.
But the notes make a critical distinction here. 21 did not lose custody of her children through state intervention or neglect.
That's a huge detail.
Massive. She voluntarily placed her children with family members. She recognized that her current lifestyle, the constant traveling, the late-night partying, the unpredictable hours of 24/7 content creation was fundamentally not conducive to giving a child a stable, healthy environment.
I find that to be a profound level of self-awareness, to look at your own life and say, I cannot give you what you need right now, so I am going to place you somewhere safe. That is incredibly difficult.
It is the definition of a hard, responsible adult choice.
Yeah.
She made a sacrifice to give them a better daily life, and she continues to provide for them financially.
Right. Twana mentions she even has a dedicated bank account set up for her kids.
Hey, she does. Yet, despite this deeply responsible decision-making, 21 receives severe, relentless ridicule from her viewers. The audience talks to her, and this is a quote from the notes, like trash regarding this choice.
That's heartbreaking.
The chat constantly berates her for being a bad mother. And the notes even detail a past situation where 21 was caring for a disabled child on live stream, and the audience ridiculed her for that as well.
It's just brutal. It proves that no matter what choice you make, if you are living your life publicly, the audience will find a way to twist it into a weapon.
Exactly. And 21 knows this. She has a decade of scar tissue from this exact dynamic, which is probably why, as Twana points out, she doesn't put everything on Front Street.
Yeah, compartmentalization is her survival strategy. She gives them the hoverboard and the shopping cart so they don't get to touch the bank accounts and the family dynamics.
And that compartmentalization extends directly to her finances, which is a huge topic of debate among her viewers.
Oh, the chat is obsessed with her money. Half the audience is convinced she is flat broke and struggling, and the other half is convinced she is secretly a millionaire just playing a character.
And Twana, who have been analyzing this specific space for a long time, has a very clear extrapolation on this.
What's her take?
She believes that after 10 years in the game, 21 is far from broke. She has just learned to keep her real business off camera.
That's smart.
She survives on what Twana calls pure support.
Pure support. What does that mean exactly in this context?
It means organic, authentic donations from fans who genuinely enjoy her, rather than the manufactured algorithmic gaming that some other streamers use to fake their popularity.
Okay. So real money from real fans. The ability to cultivate that pure support over a decade is a testament to immense charisma.
It really is. But there is a shadow side to maintaining that energy for 10 years.
What do you mean?
Well, Twana notes that Maige's primary hope for 21 during her time in the house is that she curbs her drinking. The notes clarify she isn't like a sloppy drunk. She isn't falling over and ruining the stream, but she drinks heavily and consistently.
You really have to wonder about the mechanics of coping in that environment.
Definitely.
Because we know from the sources that she is currently single. Her former partner, Drosky, is incarcerated with pending charges in Alabama, and his apartment is facing eviction.
It's a lot to carry.
Let's stack that up. She is dealing with the stress of an incarcerated ex, the emotional toll of being separated from her children, the ambient anxiety of potential eviction, and this constant draining pressure of entertaining a live audience that simultaneously pays her and mocks her.
When you lay it out like that, it's overwhelming.
The drinking seems less like a party aesthetic and much more like a very human, very understandable reaction to an immense amount of psychological pressure.
It connects directly to the core trauma of the creator economy. 21 has figured out how to survive the internet's scrutiny, but she is absorbing the impact every single day.
Yeah, she wears the armor of the carefree party girl, but beneath it she is navigating profound complexities.
She knows how to play a bruising game.
She does. But 21's heart and resilience actually makes the house's third resident stand out in sharp, almost alarming contrast.
Oh, absolutely.
If 21 represents the veteran who knows the rules of the internet, the third resident represents what happens when you desperately want the fame, but you completely lack the roadmap to protect yourself.
The dynamic shifts significantly when we introduce Mara.
This is where the story pivots for me, from entertaining chaos to something that feels genuinely concerning.
Yeah, the stakes get a lot higher.
So let's introduce Mara. Her Bigot handle is Make Merrick now, and she goes by Mara Baddest. She is 38 years old, she has no children, no partner, and she is absolutely adamant that she refuses to get a regular traditional job.
She only wants to be a content creator.
Right. And her living situation leading up to her arrival at the Messy Mage house paints a picture of extreme precariousness.
It's really unstable.
Previously, she was cleaning for an African family in exchange for room and board, and Twana suspects she likely cannot return to that situation.
Right, that bridge might be burned.
And Mara refuses to go back to her mother's house because she is terrified her mother will kick her out. So she has effectively placed all her chips, her entire livelihood, on the Messy Mage content house.
Which is a huge gamble.
It is, and I need to pause everything and talk about this because it blew my mind.
Wow.
There is a detail in Twana's notes that absolutely stopped me in my tracks.
You mean the history between Mara and Mage?
Yes. I could not believe this. It was stated on Bigot Live that, in the past, Mage literally had to call the police on Mara for stalking him.
Yeah, the stalking allegation fundamentally alters how we view their current living arrangement.
I am in complete shock over this. I mean, put yourself in Mage's shoes for a second.
Oh, wait.
If someone stalked you to the point where you felt so threatened that you compelled law enforcement to intervene, why on earth would you open your front door and invite that specific person to live in your house for a 24/7 reality show?
It's wild.
How does that make any logical human sense?
In the real world, it defies every instinct of self-preservation. You just wouldn't do it. But this is where Twana's analysis becomes essential, because she breaks down the surreal reality of IRL streaming.
Right. What does she say about this?
Twana outlines 3 distinct possibilities regarding this stalking allegation, and each one reveals something profound and troubling about the industry.
Okay, break them down for me.
Possibility number 1. The entire stalking narrative was a manufactured drama arc. It was designed purely to generate views, speculation, and engagement prior to the house launching.
Okay, fake drama for clicks. That's the oldest trick in the reality TV playbook. I can see that.
Right. Possibility number 2. The allegation was entirely false. Simply a malicious rumor that caught fire on the platform and took on a life of its own.
Which happens all the time on the internet.
Exactly. But possibility number 3 is where the implications become incredibly dark.
Oh, boy.
Possibility number 3 is that the stalking was completely true. Mage really did fear for his safety and called the police, but the transgression was forgiven, compartmentalized, and ignored because bringing her into the house would generate massive amounts of money and content.
Wow. Let's just sit with possibility number 3 for a moment. Because if that is true, it means that in this specific digital economy, personal safety, trauma, and psychological boundaries are literally traded as commodities.
Everything has a price.
It means the potential for viral content is vastly more important than the trauma of being stalked. You are literally inviting the danger into your home because the danger gets views.
It speaks to the surreal priorities of the live streaming world. The line between lived reality and broadcast content becomes so hopelessly blurred that even severe interpersonal violations like stalking are just seen as storyline fodder. It's grist for the mill.
It's incredibly bleak, and it makes Mara such a fascinating enigma in all of this.
She really is. Antoine emphasizes how much the audience fundamentally misreads Mara's personality.
How so?
Because Mara doesn't fit the typical mold of an internet personality. She doesn't usually wear makeup except for this one specific girl's day where 21 did her hair and makeup for her.
Right.
And because she doesn't instantly snap back when someone insults her in the chat, the viewers assume she is slow or timid or oblivious to the insults.
The internet has a huge tendency to infantilize or diagnose people who don't perform to their exact rapid-fire expectations.
Absolutely. And Twana knows that Mara previously mentioned a deeply traumatic event on stream. A pregnancy terminated by her parents when she was 15, which adds a layer of vulnerability to her public persona.
Yeah, you hear that and you can't help but feel for her.
The notes even mention Twana observing that Mara might have some mental challenges, though she is careful to acknowledge we cannot know that clinically.
Right, we're just observers. But Twana is very quick to defend Mara against the audience's assumptions of weakness, isn't she?
She is. She stresses that Mara actually has incredibly thick skin. She is not oblivious to the hate. She does clap back, she just chooses her moments.
She operates on her own timeline.
Exactly. If she is in the mood, she will go right back at you. She just refuses to perform her anger on command for the audience's amusement.
And refusing to react on command is, in its own way, a powerful form of boundary setting.
It is. It takes a lot of restraint.
And despite these stalking rumors hanging in the air, her actual day-to-day relationship with Mage right now is described in the notes as strange, but not strained.
Yeah, they seem to get along.
They are friendly. Mage genuinely seems to like her as a friend, but he has made it explicitly clear repeatedly to both her and the audience that he does not want a romantic relationship with her.
Which makes sense.
First, obviously, because of the alleged stalking history, and second, because of the age gap. She is 38, he is 22. Mage even notes that Mara is actually close in age to his own mother.
Which firmly cements that patriarchal, almost parental dynamic Mage has assumed in the house. He's setting the boundaries for a woman much older than him.
It's such a trip.
It really is.
Wow.
But it begs a larger structural question. Why would Mara, at 38 years old, subject herself to this?
That's the million-dollar question.
Why endure the stalking rumors, the constant audience ridicule, the lack of traditional stability, and the reliance on a 22-year-old for a place to sleep?
And to answer that, we have to follow the money. We have to look at how a digital hustle actually pays the rent. Because this isn't just about the dopamine hit of fame, it is about physical survival.
Absolutely.
Let's dive deep into the economics and the ethics of the app hustle, specifically focusing on the mechanics of Bigo Live.
This is where the illusion of the booming creator economy collides with hard mathematical reality.
So how does a platform like Bigo actually function? Because it's not like YouTube where you just get ad revenue.
No, it is entirely based on a gamified virtual gifting economy.
Okay, walk me through that. How does the money move?
Viewers use real-world money to buy digital currency, usually called diamonds.
Diamonds, got it.
They use those diamonds to send virtual animated GIFs to the broadcaster during a live stream. So maybe an animation of a sports car or a dragon flies across the screen.
I've seen those on TikTok. It's like a big flashy graphic.
Right. Those GIFs are then converted into a different virtual currency called beans in the broadcaster's account.
Wait, from diamonds to beans?
Yes, diamonds to beans, and then the broadcaster can cash those beans out for real US dollars.
Okay, that sounds simple enough, but you mentioned hard mathematical reality.
Yeah, because the exchange rate and the platform mechanics are absolutely brutal. The system is heavily weighted to ensure the house always wins.
Beyond heavily, I was looking at Twana's breakdown of the math in the notes. Are you ready for this?
Lay it on me.
It takes 210 beans to equal roughly one single US dollar for the streamer.
210. Just for $1.
Yes. And then the platform takes a 50% cut of the transaction right off the top.
50%. That is extortion.
Think about that extraction of wealth. The parent company of BigO, Joey, reported nearly $5 billion with a B in revenue in the first quarter of 2025 alone.
$5 billion.
Yet 99% of the broadcasters generating that revenue on the app cannot make a primary living doing this.
It functions like a digital company can. The platform provides the infrastructure and profits immensely, while the vast majority of the laborers, the creators, are scrambling for pennies and paying exorbitant taxes back to the platform just to participate.
It honestly reminds me of a digital Ponzi scheme, or like money laundering for clout.
Money laundering for clout. That is highly accurate.
Because to survive in an economy where you are losing 50% of your income to the platform, streamers engage in incredibly shady tactics to manipulate the algorithm. Let's talk about the practice of trading beans.
Yes, this is a vital component of Twana's commentary on the platform's ethics.
What exactly is trading beans?
Trading beans is a practice where broadcasters explicitly collude to manufacture engagement. A streamer might message another streamer and say, hey, I will buy you a high-value digital dragon gift today with my own money if you promise to buy me one next month.
So they just cycle the same money back and forth between each other.
Exactly. And they do this because the algorithm sees the high-value gift and assumes, oh, this stream is highly engaging and popular. Let's push it to the top of the feed for more viewers.
So it's completely artificial. Or the notes say they literally just create fake backup accounts, load them with their own money, and gift themselves to meet the strict financial quotas set by the streaming agencies they work for.
Yes. It is a completely fabricated economy.
That's insane.
Twana highlights this as a massive ethical gray area. Now, creating a fake economy to meet agency quotas might not trigger a federal indictment for fraud, but it explicitly violates the platform's terms of service.
I would assume so.
BigO's VIP terms warn that participation can be suspended for deceptive or fraudulent behavior. But more importantly, from a sociological standpoint, it actively exploits and hurts the genuine small-dollar fans.
That's the part that really bothers me. Think about the psychology of the viewer in this scenario.
Right.
Imagine you are a fan with very little disposable income. You work a minimum wage job. You save up $5 to send a virtual gift to your favorite streamer because you feel a connection to them.
You want to show support.
Right, and you genuinely think you are helping them pay their light bill. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, that streamer is cycling tens of thousands of dollars in fake gifts with their friends just to game the system.
It renders the real fan's sacrifice mathematically meaningless.
Completely meaningless. But the streamer will still read your name off the screen to keep you hooked.
It is a profound betrayal of the parasocial contract. The viewer spends money to alleviate their own loneliness, and the streamer exploits that loneliness to appease an algorithm.
It's so cynical. But I do want to clarify something important here. Twana is extremely strict on this point regarding our main cast. She makes a very clear declarative distinction.
Yes. She goes out of her way to say that Madge, 21, and Mara do not participate in this fake economy.
She really defends their integrity on this specific issue.
She does. She notes that Maj has legitimate established celebrity status on the app, so he doesn't need to artificially inflate his numbers to get viewers.
He already has the audience.
Right. 21, as we discussed, has survived for a decade on organic, authentic, pure support from her loyal fan base. And Mara is actively being taught by the others how to cultivate that same pure support.
So they are playing a very hard, often unforgiving game, but according to Twana, they're playing it honestly.
Playing it honestly, yes. But even so, the financial reality is grim.
Very grim. Twana is incredibly realistic about the outlook here. For most people, she says, streaming might pay a phone bill, it might buy you gas money or a nice meal out, but it is not a career.
No. To actually succeed and make a living wage, it takes a massive infrastructure. You need streaming agencies backing you, you need cross-platform synergy, TikTok, YouTube, Kick, Bingo, all feeding into each other. And crucially, you have to understand the psychology of whales.
Whales? Like in casinos.
Exactly the same concept. The concept of the whale is central to this economy. Why does a person spend thousands of dollars on a stranger on the internet?
It's a great question.
It is rarely just about the content. It is about status within the chat room hierarchy. It is about the dopamine rush of having the streamer scream your name. The streamer has to cultivate and manage those specific high-spending relationships.
You have to keep the whales entertained so they don't take their credit cards to another room, which makes Mara's situation incredibly precarious.
Oh, incredibly.
Because remember, she adamantly refuses to get a regular job at 38 years old. Yet, Twana looks at her platform stats, and Mara is sitting at a level 1 on her Bigo account with 172,000 beans and one single diamond.
And Twana immediately clocks this as highly suspicious. A level 1 account with that many beans usually means it's a backup page.
Which implies her main account, her primary source of income and followers, was likely mass-reported and shut down by viewers.
Right, so let's look at the reality of Mara's life. She has no stable, guaranteed income. She is relying on a backup account that the algorithm could vanish tomorrow.
Terrifying.
She is refusing traditional work. And she is sleeping in a house owned by a 22-year-old.
Yeah.
The financial tightrope she is walking is practically invisible.
It's so fragile, and the financial rewards for Mara might be slim to non-existent, but the psychological cost is absolutely guaranteed, and it is steep.
Very steep. Which brings us to the core trauma of this specific type of entertainment.
We have to talk about the cruelty, the psychological warfare of the no-off-switch IRL streaming format.
There is a profound structural difference between a traditional controlled studio stream and a 24/7 IRL stream in a shared content house.
Right, like if you are a traditional Twitch streamer, you sit at a desk for 3 hours, you play a video game, you say goodbye to the chat, and you turn the camera off. You can go decompress.
When you live on camera, you cannot edit yourself. You cannot hide a bad mood. You can't just have a quiet moment of sadness over your coffee.
There is literally no off switch.
And because the audience is paying, even in these microtransactions, they develop an intense, toxic sense of entitlement over the creators.
They feel like they own them.
Exactly. The streamer has to absorb the audience's cruelty in real time all day long. Viewers feel completely justified in critiquing a broadcaster's physical appearance, their lack of makeup, their hygiene, and actively debating amongst themselves whether a person even deserves to be in the house.
Wait, I have to stop you there and ask the difficult question. I know people listening right now are probably thinking this too.
Go for it.
If Mara and 21 are voluntarily broadcasting their lives 24/7, and they are actively refusing traditional jobs to pursue this public life, haven't they essentially signed up for this?
That's the argument a lot of people make.
Like, if your product is your life, aren't reviews of your life part of the job description? Where's the line between active audience participation and outright abuse?
It is the central ethical dilemma of the medium. Are they victims of the crowd, or are they willing participants in a blood sport?
How does Twana approach that?
Twana approaches this by drawing a sharp line between the friction that naturally occurs inside the house and the external hostility of the chat.
Okay, give me an example.
For instance, Twana notes that 21 and Mara have what she calls little tussles. This is normal roommate friction. Arguing over space, fussing over minor things, saying, "I'm sick of seeing your face right now, give me some space."
Yeah, that's just natural human behavior when you are confined together in a high-stress environment. Anyone who has ever lived in a dorm or had a messy roommate knows that exact feeling.
Exactly. But the audience reaction goes far beyond commenting on that natural friction. The audience engages in genuine, coordinated, relentless nastiness.
The chat is brutal.
Twana points out the specific bullying that Mara faces daily. The chat constantly asks if Mara is the new Moe, which is a comparison to another, presumably controversial streamer, a comparison that Twana vehemently rejects.
Right.
They mock Mara endlessly because she doesn't fit the platform's rigid, algorithmic standard of a baddie aesthetic. She doesn't wear the heavy makeup. She doesn't perform the hypersexualized or hyper-aggressive persona that the app typically rewards with money.
And the audience punishes her for that nonconformity. They want her to play a specific character, and when she refuses, they try to break her.
They punish her severely. The audience splits themselves into factions. They demand rapid-fire, explosive reactions to their insults.
And what happens if she doesn't react the way they want?
If a creator processes emotions differently, like Mara, who, as we discussed, delays her clapbacks instead of screaming immediately, the audience assumes she is weak and attacks her harder. They view her emotional processing as a vulnerability to be exploited.
What is so striking in the notes is Twana's deep, almost protective empathy for Mara in the face of this mob mentality.
Twyna really feels for her.
She states plainly that the viewers are heartless. They're completely disrespectful. But here is the surreal paradox of the content house that I just can't wrap my head around.
What's that?
Despite the chat being a toxic wasteland of bullying, despite the constant insults about her appearance, Mara herself doesn't seem to be in distress.
The notes are very clear on that point. Mara seems to be having genuine fun.
Really?
Yeah, they were doing karaoke. They were going out to eat as a group. She is actively participating in the gross-out challenges with the maggots and the mustard. She is enjoying the experience of being part of something.
But the clock is ticking. And the fun is about to end because Maj, the ringmaster, the 22-year-old landlord, has decided it is almost time to shut the house down.
He controls the timeline.
He needs to prep for his next production. He controls when the reality show begins, and he controls when the reality show ends. He has decided the season is wrapping up, and this creates a recurring scene in the house that I find absolutely heartbreaking.
The car scene.
Yes. Maj keeps asking Mara, point blank, where do you want me to take you? He's literally sitting in his car asking for the address to put in the GPS so he can drop her off.
And her answer reveals the depth of her precariousness.
Her answer is always the same. She doesn't know. She has no answer. She has no plan. She has nowhere to go.
That impending deadline hangs over the entire operation like a guillotine. The cameras are about to shut off for this specific iteration of the house.
Which leads us to the inevitable existential question of the creator economy. What happens to the cast when the season ends, the algorithm shifts, and the audience looks away?
It is the ultimate reality TV hangover.
It really is. We are moving into the final phase here. The boot camp, the future, and what happens when the ring light turns off. Let's look at the impending end of the content house.
Let's start with 21.
21, the 10-year veteran, she's fine. She knows her next steps. She has her organic support. She has her compartmentalization skills. She knows exactly where she is going.
She will simply pack up her ring light, move to a new location, and resume her broadcast. The physical location changes, but her brand remains completely intact.
And Mage is also leveling up. This season was a massive success for him, so he is currently building a permanent, messy Mage house.
He's expanding his empire.
He's exploring a season 3, and he has realized the sheer exhaustion of trying to do it all himself, so he's looking to employ a real, formal crew.
Which is smart business.
Twyna's notes mention he might even employ 21 and Mara behind the scenes as cast or crew, or bring in bigger platform guests, like a broadcaster from Atlanta named Aaliyah the Doll. He's actively building a true production company.
He is transitioning from a participant in the hustle to an owner of the infrastructure.
But there is one idea Twyna pitches in her commentary that I am absolutely obsessed with. It is such a brilliant observation of where internet culture is heading.
The boot camp idea.
Yes. Twyna suggests that Mage should run a content boot camp on TikTok.
A vocational school for aspiring influencers.
Think about how fascinating this is on a cultural level. A 22-year-old teaching a masterclass on how to survive the psychological warfare of the internet.
The curriculum Twyna suggests includes platform mechanics, content pacing, business management.
But the best part is that things like gross-out challenges and content house management are now literal, tangible vocational skills that can be taught. You can take a seminar on how to effectively chase a 38-year-old woman with a dead rat prop to maximize audience retention and bean generation. It is peak 2026 internet.
It sounds absurd to a traditional mindset, but managing audience attention in real time, maximizing monetization without getting banned, and balancing cast dynamics is an incredibly highly specialized skill set.
It really is.
And Twyna's pitch for this bootcamp perfectly aligns with her final thesis on Mage's character. She summarizes him by saying, Mage has a heart for people, but he will get aggravated if you act like you don't want to help yourself.
There is that strict boundary again.
For Mage, the bootcamp would be a way to give back, to help others elevate their platforms, but in a highly structured way, where the participants have to actually do the work to learn. He provides the syllabus, he provides the expertise, but you have to pass the class. You have to earn the beans.
But while Mage is planning his syllabus and building his permanent studio, the looming anxiety surrounding Mara just swallows all the oxygen in the room.
It's the unresolved core to the whole story.
Tawana asks these open questions at the end of her commentary, and they are a stark, sobering reality check that cuts through all the comedy.
What does she ask?
She asks, was Mara actually getting paid real money at that cleaning job with the African family, or was it strictly room and board? Does she have a single dollar in savings?
Because if she doesn't,
Exactly. When Marge finally forces her to put an address in the GPS, where will she actually sleep next week? What happens tomorrow when the cameras turn off?
the contrast is jarring and deeply uncomfortable. You have Maj building a media empire and formalizing his power at 22.
Yeah.
You have 21 surviving through sheer grit, compartmentalization, and the sacrifice of her daily life with her children.
Right.
And you have Mara, 38 years old, banking her entire existence on an algorithm that actively encourages her bullying with absolutely no safety net beneath her.
It brings all the threads of this deep dive together so perfectly. The Messy Madge House isn't just a bunch of people doing weird paste tests with spoiled cream and mustard. It's not just a hoverboard tied to a shopping cart.
No, it's so much more than that.
It is a perfect, terrifying microcosm of the modern internet economy.
It encapsulates the entire spectrum of the creator experience, from the architects who profit to the laborers who risk everything.
It features a young, hyper-competent mogul holding the reins and realizing his power. It features a hardened veteran surviving the crushing scrutiny of controversial life choices, trying to balance the character she plays on a screen with the mother she actually is.
And it features a deeply vulnerable dreamer.
Yes, hoping with everything she has that the internet will save her from a traditional job she refuses to take, even as that same internet openly mocks her.
20 Yvette's couch commentary really serves as the essential translation layer for all of this. She takes what looks like superficial chaotic noise and forces the viewer to acknowledge the very real, often desperate human stakes involved.
Which is exactly what we want you, the listener, to remember. Think about your day tomorrow. Every single time you casually scroll past a live stream on TikTok or Kick or Bigo, and you see someone doing something ridiculous, or even something incredibly mundane, like just sitting in a chair staring at a screen,
Which it happens a lot.
recognize that there is an entire complex ecosystem operating behind that camera. There is a brutal microeconomy of beans and diamonds. There are streaming agencies and invisible algorithms demanding constant engagement.
And there is profound human drama happening just out of frame.
It is so easy to drop a mean comment and keep scrolling, but as Trana's breakdown proves, people's lives are infinitely more complicated than a 15-second clip reveals.
The reduction of human complexity into easily digestible content is the ultimate trick of the platform. It makes it easy to consume. But the complexity never actually goes away. It just gets hidden off camera, where the creators have to deal with it alone.
And speaking of dealing with reality, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over today. Something that builds on everything we've talked about with the Messy Madge House, but looks a little further down the road into our cultural future.
I'm intrigued.
We see what it takes to survive in this house right now, the stamina, the thick skin, the compromises. But if our society continues to actively encourage people to monetize their everyday existence 24 hours a day, from the time they wake up to the time they go to sleep,
Yeah.
what is the ultimate retirement plan for an IRL streamer?
Oh, wow. That's a huge question.
Think about it. When the hoverboard stunts stop going viral, when the shenanigans stop being cute and the audience inevitably moves on to the next younger, more dramatic content house, how do you successfully rejoin a real world that you have spent a decade desperately trying to escape?
It's the psychological equivalent of returning from deep space. You have been weightless in a virtual world for so long. The gravity of normal daily life is going to feel entirely different and potentially crushing.
It really is. The internet never forgets, but it always moves on. So until the cameras turn off for good, keep questioning what you watch and remember the humanity behind the screen. Thanks for taking the deep dive with us today.